Ascension symptoms are the living reality for many people going through spiritual awakenings. Their presence is strongest during astrological events, phases of deep purging, dark nights of the soul, and whenever we are up-leveling. But also during our everyday life, once we have become sensitive enough to attune with the increasing energies here on Earth. What's less understood about this process is the impact on our physiology. So today I'm going to be talking about key physiological terms and the shifts that happen during a spiritual awakening. And at the end of this video, I will share with you the #1 trap an evolving being faces in the Ascension community, or even just along their spiritual journey. In my video, What is Ascension?, I explained that in its most reduced form, the Ascension process is the conscious participation in our own evolution, which cannot take place without a healing journey. So you cannot have a spiritual awakening journey without a healing journey. This healing journey leads to major shifts in our etheric template, which is more popularly known by its more respected name, the morphic resonance field. And these shifts impact our entire energy field, including our physiology. The closest reputable science behind this connection between the morphic field and our physiology is the field of epigenetics. But epigenetics is in its nascent form, meaning it too will evolve. And since here in mysticism, we're always 3 steps ahead of the latest breakthroughs and discoveries of yesterday, and light years ahead of regarding 98% of our non-coding DNA as junk, we shall carry on with little regard for a proper context. There are 4 primary mechanisms that healing takes on within the body-mind, and even at the cellular level. These 4 mechanisms are a clearing, a balancing, a transmutation, or an activation. So any one of these are taking place during any given phase when we are experiencing a form of healing or up-leveling. Basically, anytime we are deepening our level of awareness. Now, deepening our level of awareness may not always appear like a healing, especially since a lot of awareness comes with even more trauma, like when we're waking up to the darker elements of this reality. But believe it or not, there's still a deep healing happening even then, because whenever we are discovering a program running within us and have the courage to identify it, transcend it, and unprogram ourselves from whatever programming we were under, we are in a stage of clearing. And as mentioned, clearing is one of the 4 ways that we receive upgrades to our energy field and therefore our physiology. How can we unlock dormant potentials in our physical vehicle if we have programming that's encoding our DNA? This is why the foundation for every new shift in consciousness starts with a clearing. Dissolving old programming in our mind, and therefore our body, opens up our energy field's ability to access more coding sequences and more variations in genetic expression that would look like a full-blown mutation to our current form. It's important to know right here that as much evolutionary potential that our physical body holds, no spiritual awakenings can come from a state of rejecting the body in its current form. In fact, the last thing you ever want to do on your journey is perceive your physical vessel as a block or detriment to your evolution. Despite all of the tampering and alterations that have been done to our physical vessel, it has served us. And if anything, your love and respect for it, exactly as it is, will only grow the deeper you awaken. And lo and behold, that level of harmony organically creates even more shifts within its cellular makeup. There are 2 main forms of energetic blockages stored within the body. These are called miasms and cellular debris. Miasms are inherited patterns for disease. They come from soul fragmentation and the resulting emotional temperaments that get passed down through an ancestral lineage. So miasms go even beyond the physical and into the psycho-spiritual, which is why some lineages have an affinity for rage, or why some have a prevalence for addiction, and others have impending anxiety, and so forth. Miasms are basically a blueprint for trauma and the belief systems birthed from trauma that are stored in the DNA. The esoteric implications of miasms go still even deeper. They hold inside them coding for scarcity consciousness and victimization, because the Matrix likes to keep it classy. So within miasms, there are a lot of distortions that create energetic blocks to accessing more of the available information that our body-mind can tap into. The second form of blocks contained within our luminous energy field is cellular debris. The cellular debris I'm referring to is not the waste left over from the life cycle of a cell. There is cellular debris stored in the body in the form of memory, and this cellular memory holds information that I call a doom imprint. A doom imprint carries in it the memory of cataclysm and large-scale devastating events. Its overall tone is extreme hopelessness, and as such, it causes the body-mind to flinch when approaching its own self-concept of sovereignty. It simply does not have the reference point for that on file, and the thought of a being stepping into their personal power and not suffering some form of severe physical or metaphysical repercussions is all too sanguine for the doom imprint to grasp. It was born from existential dread and ruin. From tsunamis to deluge, by fire and water, we have experienced lifetimes of stark doom, and our cells have that imprinted in them. It's recorded into our field not only as a reminder for our survivalism to freeze and stay small, but as a mark, a stern warning that whatever we thought we could achieve, however much light we thought we could bring into this dimension, is futile. Doom has already claimed us. In fact, the doom imprint is so thoroughly wired into our being that it not only affects our physiology, it can block our ability to access the state of enlightenment. If you're interested in learning more about the nature of higher states of consciousness and the number one symptom of them that you would never guess, but may or may not already be experiencing, let me know in the comments, and I'll make a video explaining that concept in depth. The other distortion held inside our cellular debris is karmic imprints. These are energetic patterns with very deep grooves that are more challenging to address because they are not something that can be cleared. They actually need to be transmuted. Because you can't really clear momentum, and at the heart of karma, all that really exists is momentum. You are a composite character of different energies that all contribute to the totality of you. These different energies all have momentum since they have been repeated enough to form an identifiable pattern, and our personality, disposition, perceptions, emotional intensity, our whole self-concept is the sum total of this momentum, which is known as karma. So we can't actually clear the energetic patterns that have organized into the genetics and physical structure of ourselves, but we can transmute our karmic imprints if we find that we repeat detrimental patterns to the point that we feel we are a slave to some cruel and vague fate. So since we can't stop existing, transmuting our karmic imprints in this case would simply mean to move in the opposite direction or momentum of whatever pattern we have identified as detrimental, rather than try to clear something that can only ever be balanced or transmuted. Our spiritual awakening will naturally guide us into whatever phase we need for clearing, balancing, transmuting, and activating our physiology. Whatever the form may be, consciousness is the vital cofactor that compels each one of them. Consciousness in action is what brings something into balance. It's what transmutes or clears. It's also what activates latent potential in the body-mind through neuroplasticity. On an esoteric note, consciousness can rewrite and repair any faulty coding or damage done to it. It not only can, it is doing it as we speak. It has no boundaries. It shifts all levels of our energy field, leaving us up to the task of attuning ourselves to our new level of consciousness. The name for when our consciousness, and therefore our body-mind, has received an elevation to their vibratory rate is called an upgrade. Upgrades are whenever there has been strength added to communication within the nervous system. Cellular communication is what breaks down and eventually leads to degeneration. Likewise, cellular communication is what regenerates and strengthens our nervous system's ability to receive more of our psychic abilities, hence our upgrades. So you can imagine an upgrade like fiber optics that strengthen our energy field's whole network by boosting communication. Upgrades broaden the bandwidth of our entire energy field, allowing us to embody more of our higher self's consciousness. It can't fit into the physical with a limited bandwidth, but when cellular communication is strengthened, that creates the cascade effect that allows more information to come into the body-mind and therefore the physical. And the number one block to receiving upgrades is through a prominent thought form in the New Age community. Belief systems impact our ability to heal. We can only experience as vast or as limited of an experience as we can conceive of. We can begin to resonate with certain beliefs that then train our vibration into that said paradigm. And one of the biggest traps of a paradigm that people fall into, especially in the Ascension community, is the belief that we are here to raise the collective consciousness on Earth by clearing the entire world's karma. We are here to assist in raising the collective consciousness on Earth. But some old paradigm spiritual teachings have created an image as though we do this by taking on the collective's karma. We do no such thing. In fact, to take on another being's karma would bring a world of pain to both parties involved. It would cause a never-ending cycle of energetic blockages that drain the life force of the individual without actually clearing the karma, but instead creating more of it. Whatever we came into this life with or incurred along the way is all of the momentum we will ever need to heal. And just by doing that, we broadcast that frequency to the world, making that process of transmutation from start to finish now available for others. We become the walking embodiment of what is possible, and we assist others by liberating ourselves. I hope this has upgraded your understanding of awakening. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for higher dimensional guidance through spiritual awakenings. See you next time.